Yes, everybody, Boker Tov, good day, good morning. Shalom to everyone here as the prep day has begun. Even though the sun hasn't yet risen on us out here on the West Coast, we are up early to get ready for the Shabbat, to prepare for the Shabbat, because it does take preparation. Up early studying this week's Torah portion, Ki Tisa, and just meditating on these things. And I wanted to talk really quick about the modern day golden calf, because people look at the Israelites and they consider that came out of Egypt, and they wonder, how did the Israelites, all these wonderful things happened, the Almighty showed himself to them, and yet they ended up worshiping a golden calf. And brothers and sisters that are considering this perspective, we need to watch out for the modern day golden calf, because the enemy is always working to try to get people to divert their worship from the worship of the true Creator, to the true Elohim, to the one whom we all should worship, to something else. So it doesn't literally have to be a molten object or an idol. You can have your own idols. But it says here, and I'm going to read in the Smith Goodspeed translation. I have other translations up. When the people saw that, this is Exodus 32, when the people saw that Moshe was long in coming down from the mountain, the people gathered about Aaron and said, "Come, let us make a god to go ahead of us. For this is the way it is with Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt. We do not know what has become of him." And so Aaron immediately says, "Tear off your earrings and give me your stuff." And then it says Aaron took the material from them and pouring it into a mold, made it into a molten bull. Whereupon he said, "Here is your God, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Israel." On seeing this, Aaron built an altar in front of it, and Aaron made proclamation, "Tomorrow is a feast, and it shall be held to," in this translation says the Lord, but we know in the Hebrew it's the Tetragrammaton, the Yod He Vav He. How terrible. This is blasphemous. It's terrible. How did Aaron the high priest mislead the people? And how did the people mislead themselves? And what was really going on here? We could reason for a long time on it, but what in the beginning it says the people asked, they wanted their own Elohim, their own mighty one that would suit them, that would go before them, something that they could relate to, something that they could pray to and see. And they had lost faith. They weren't walking by faith anymore. They had lost faith in the true Elohim. They had lost faith in his messenger, Moshe, even though all of these things that had happened in Exodus 19, 20, and all this stuff in the land of Egypt, Yah had shown himself to be with Moshe. Why would they think Moses was dead after 40 days? Because their faith waned, and they began to want something, their own Elohim. But also, brothers and sisters, we need to look at this, because people today, they're saying, let us worship the Most High the way we want to. Let us create our own image of the truth. And so people are even taking the Torah and creating things like lunar Sabbath, creating things that and other false calendar proclamations, and they're getting led astray. They're not following the word of the Creator of the universe. And then they've taken his son, the Mashiach, the one that he sent, and they've said, "This is our God." So people are praying to, the Christians are praying to Jesus, and they're saying that they're following the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Well, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not Jesus. It is not at all. And so this Jesus in Christianity has become the golden calf. And Messianic people that say his name is Yeshua, they understand that. But you find that a lot of these people are also worshiping Yeshua as God, as their Elohim, and saying, this is the one that we are to worship. In fact, this is not the one we are to worship. And he said to us that we should worship his Father. He said his Father is our Father. He said his Elohim is our Elohim. He actually prayed to the Father, John 17, as he was on earth. He said, "Father, that is everlasting life, that they could come to know you, the only true Elohim." John 17:3. This is really important stuff. And the one whom you sent Yehoshua HaMashiach. So it is important to come to know the true Messiah. But any Jewish person, anybody that's walking in the Torah, anyone that desires to be an Israelite, anyone that wants to be grafted in, these are very important concepts. I know I have other videos I've been putting it out there, but it's so obvious when you read the golden calf story that Christianity, Messianic faith walk has been eschewed. They're following Aaron, the high priest, so to speak, and going the wrong way. When Aaron went astray, Aaron came back to his senses. He repented, and there was forgiveness for the children of Israel. And as you read in this week's Torah portion, the Most High's grace, his mercy, his forgiveness, the atonement. Moshe went up and talked to the Almighty and actually showed that Moshe was reasoning with the Father on a level that no one else was on with the Father, and he was able to there was a new agreement, a new covenant, and so even though they did fall and they went into false worship, brothers and sisters, today we have fallen into false worship, human race, and even the people that think they're following the scriptures, they are, they have gone astray. But this is no reason to stop. Let us return to the true path, the ancient path, as Jeremiah says, that will lead to tranquility. Let the new covenant, the renewed covenant, be written on our hearts. What is the words of the new covenant? The words you find in Exodus chapter 34. These are important things to meditate on, brothers and sisters. And as we get ready for Shabbat, I just want to talk about these things. Remember that the Messiah said, if you don't believe in me, believe in the one who sent me. That's the important part. He was constantly said, the Father is greater than me. That when he was at the mikvah at the Jordan River, and he was Tavilat, when he went down in the water and was immersed and came out, there was the Ruach descended upon him, and the voice said, "This is my son from heaven." He didn't speak. He wasn't speaking to himself. The Almighty, what is in the heavens? The Almighty is not a man. The Almighty is not an image. The Almighty is beyond that. But he did reveal his attributes. He's slow to anger. He's kind. He's compassionate. These things are found in this week's Torah portion. He's loving. He's full of truth. He's faithful. He's the Almighty. He is the Almighty of Yehoshua of Nazareth. He's the Almighty of Moshe. He's the Almighty of Yehoshua ben Nun. He's the Almighty of the prophets, Jeremiah, Daniel, Eliyahu. He's going to restore his people. So let us return Shema Yisrael. Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad, and that we should love him. He is one, and we should love him with all our heart, all our soul, all our nefesh, all our resources. Let us return to him, brothers and sisters. Let's not get hung up on these things. You can also see that anytime you put the words of men or that they can take away from the scriptures and give you a replacement theology or eschew the truth in some kind of way, that this can easily become an idol. Anything that you put up and worship as more powerful than the Almighty, or as the Almighty that's not the Almighty. And brothers and sisters, looking at the world and looking at the history, there has always been, since it was fallen mankind, a desire to worship something in creation. They want to worship the creature or that which is created, the sun, the moon, the stars, some animal, some man. The Pharaoh was the god to the Egyptians. Caesar was the god of the Romans. He was a part of it. They were polytheistic. You have people in the Rastafarian faith. They worship Haile Selassie as their god. That's idolatry. That's another golden calf. In the Rasta faith, he never claimed he was God. I mean, he actually considered himself a Christian. So people are naturally drawn to want to worship another man, another creature, even a woman. You have goddess worship. You had all these different deities and all these things. This is paganism. And it constantly was trying to, the Israelites went astray into it many times. And in this world, as long as we're in this world, may we not be of the world. And may we find the true creator. And may we serve him. And he revealed himself to the prophet Moses. He revealed himself to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he gave a message for Israel and a message that will cover the earth as a witness unto all nations in these last days, because he is bringing his people out. He's calling his people. His kingdom is at hand. May his will be done in heaven and on earth. Blessed be the name of his kingdom. Baruch. Blessed be the name of his kingdom forever and ever. Brothers and sisters on the kingdom road, let us keep striving. And remember, even if we have gone astray, as long as we repent and turn around and go the right way, there is forgiveness. In this week's Torah portion, there is forgiveness for even the Israelites that went astray. But the Almighty actually says that he will control over who's blotted out of the book of life. And his record, he knows everything. He knows what's going on. He can see into our heart, and his will be done. So, brothers and sisters, let us maintain truth. And I just had to bring this out. There could be many golden calves for people that they don't know about. But religion has definitely put it. And so Aaron the high priest, as amazing as he was, he even went astray here. And the people all went astray at the foot of Mount Sinai after all they saw. So if that could happen to them, it could happen to anybody. And so let us be on guard, and let us return our worship to the true Elohim, to the Elohim that Moshe was talking to on Mount Sinai, to the Elohim that Yehoshua of Nazareth was speaking to when he prayed in John 17:3, and that he taught us to pray for. Avinu Sheba Shemayim, our Father. That's his Father. That's our Father, everyone's Father who is in the heavens. Yah be with you all. Have a good day preparing for the Holy Shabbat. Shalom.